I have been meaning to film a drugstore makeup starter kit forever. I was reminded and inspired when my beautiful friend Mel C. Beauty recently posted her drugstore makeup starter kit. I will link Mel's video in the description box below. Actually, I could also title this video, "If I Lost All My Makeup and Only Had $100. Either way, today I am sharing and applying a full face of my most beginner-friendly and most affordable drugstore favorites. If this sounds fun to you, throw this video a thumbs up and let's get into it. Now keep in mind, prices do vary by retailer, so I'm using sort of an average price point. My core 10 products will be under $100, but I am throwing in a few optional extras. As usual, all the products I'm talking about today and all the shades will be listed and linked in the description box below and in the top pinned comment and in YouTube shopping if available. And by the way, I just updated my Shop My Shelf with all my favorite skincare and makeup products organized by category. I will also link that below if you would like to explore more of my favorites, both drugstore and high-end. Starting, of course, with base products. Now you might be surprised to hear that I don't own a single makeup primer. I believe that well cared for, exfoliated, and moisturized skin makes the best canvas for makeup application. And I do expect my skin tints and my foundations to perform very well without any helping products. Having said that, I will list some of my skincare videos in the description box below. But for today, I'm going to touch very quickly on some very simple, basic, and affordable skin prep because skin prep does make a difference with makeup application. I have two favorite, very affordable moisturizers to share. I have been using Vanicream Daily Facial Moisturizer for years. It is lightweight, yet moisturizing. It is fragrance-free, good for all skin types, including sensitive. But I do tend to use the Vanicream a little bit more in the summer months when my skin isn't quite as dry. Lately, I have been loving Remedy's new moisturizer. Also fragrance-free and cruelty-free, loaded with ceramides. I love this little pump container. Now this is richer than the Vanicream, but it absorbs beautifully into the skin and it works really, really well under makeup. Now this is right now only available online, but it is definitely drugstore pricing. As far as sunscreen, please do not rely on your makeup for sun protection. No matter what SPF the foundation label might say, we simply do not apply enough foundation to give us any actual protection. SPF in makeup is a bonus at best. Unfortunately, I don't really have a drugstore SPF that I can recommend, but if you have a favorite drugstore SPF, please share it in the comment box. My most affordable SPF that I have been using for years is the Can Make Mermaid Sun Gel SPF 50. This is a Japanese hybrid SPF, very hydrating, untinted but no white cast, perfect under makeup. And super affordable. I think it's running $12 on Amazon right now. I definitely need to reorder some of that. But my most used SPF for the last several months is my In Beauty Project Mineral Sunglow SPF 43. This is tinted. It does come in 3 tints, and I, of course, am in the lightest tint. Incredibly lightweight, absorbs beautifully, and perfect as a primer under makeup. Now, I've already done my skincare, so let's play with some makeup. Now, I personally have quite a bit of dark blue purple on the inner corner of my eyes, so I always start my makeup with a peach corrector. Now, I only have one drugstore peach corrector, and it is my Pixie Peach Corrector. You've probably heard me talk about it a million times. You can see how well used it is. Now this is a very opaque formula and it is a little bit on the dry side, maybe a little bit too dry for under the eyes, but it is perfect for my inner corner. Just gonna pick some up with this Real Techniques brush and pounce or dab it into that inner corner. And take a little bit on the lid and just whatever is left very, very lightly under the eye. And press it in with my finger. And hopefully you can see how much that brightened that inner corner compared to no corrector. This also enables me to use less concealer. And when it comes to concealer, less is definitely more. The drugstore has come a really long way when it comes to foundation products. L'Oreal and Maybelline both have a beautiful range of foundations. I did a video where I reviewed and ranked almost all of the L'Oreal foundations. I will link it below. And one of these days I need to do a Maybelline foundation review and ranking. Anyway, my favorite, most affordable foundation line at the drugstore is Wet n Wild. Wet n Wild is cruelty-free, vegan, fragrance-free, and contains no drying alcohol or SPF. I have 3 Wet n Wild base products to share with you today. All of them are under $10. Sometimes you can even find them for $5. The first one is the lightest coverage, and it's Wet n Wild's new-ish niacinamide serum skin tint. Now, like I said, this is the lightest coverage of the 3. It's also the most hydrating and the glowiest. Comes in a glass bottle with a pump. I already gave it a good shake. And you are going to see that it does have quite a thin consistency. I am in the shade Fair Beige, I believe. It feels really beautifully and cushiony and serumy, and it blends beautifully with the fingers. Now, like I said, lightest coverage, just enough to even the skin tone. I do tend to use this more in the winter months when my skin is extra dry and I need that extra hydration and glow. On the other end of the spectrum, let me wipe my hand off. On the other end of the spectrum is Wet n Wild's Photo Focus Foundation. Now this does come in 2 different formulas. I have the dewy formula, which is for dry skin, but it also comes in a matte formula, which is good for combination and oily skin. Of the 3 products, this does have the most coverage, definitely foundation for a more, perfected, polished look. And it does come with this little spatula, and I'm not sure what shade this is. I will list all the shades below, but again, really nice, smooth, creamy formula for a more perfected, polished look. Now, both of these options are excellent, depending on what you're going for. If you want a little bit lighter coverage with a little more hydration and glow, go with the serum tint, or for a more perfected look, go with the Photo Focus Foundation. However, I do think that the easiest and the most universally flattering for all skin types is the iconic Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. This is sort of the Goldilocks of the 3. I love the squeezy tube, which is perfect for travel, and you are going to see that this does have a thicker, creamier consistency. This has light to medium buildable coverage with a really pretty natural satin skin-like finish. Now I am in between seasons right now, so I am mixing my winter shade, which is shade light, with my summer shade, which is shade light medium. Just mix them on the back of my hand. This is so easy to apply. You can apply it with fingers, brush, or a sponge, but I love just to blend it in with my fingertips. Really, really, really easy. I am going to put it on just half of my face so that you can see the coverage. And you can even work it under your eyes. Sometimes Corrector and a base product, and you might not even need a concealer. I'm going to take a closer look and make sure I have it blended in. All right, so here is one light layer compared to no foundation. Grab it on the other side. All right, beautiful light medium coverage with a natural satin skin-like finish and super long lasting. Oh my gosh, you guys, it suddenly got so dark outside. It started to rain. We might even be getting some thunder. So I did have to adjust my lighting a little bit. Anyway, moving on to concealer. Now, I do think between the Corrector and the skin tint, I almost don't need concealer today. But I do want to share my two favorite drugstore concealers. First is NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer. Comes with a little pump. I have talked about this many times, but I did use this in a recent drugstore Get Ready With Me. So today I am going to use my Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Concealer. Both of these are very hydrating, good coverage, beautiful under the eyes. Having said that, I do really prefer the doe foot compared to the pump. It's just easier to apply the right amount. Again, with concealer, less is definitely more. So I am just putting very small dots where I need just a little extra coverage and brightening. Now this is in the shade Sand, and I do really like to, you can blend with your fingers, but I really do like to use a brush, and I'm just sort of patting it just where I need the coverage. And then feathering the edges and using my finger, using the warmth of my finger to press it in, and whatever is left on the brush, just neutralize my eyelids a little bit. So there is a very light layer of serum concealer compared to no concealer. And of course, we need to even it out. Now, you can also use concealer to spot conceal around your face, especially if you're using a lighter coverage skin tint. Maybe you have some dark spots that you want to cover, or you get a little extra redness around your nose. You can certainly add a little concealer where you need a little extra coverage. Moving on to powder. Now, powders can be very challenging for mature skin. So many powders make my 65-year-old, very dry, very mature skin look drier and older. So I very often skip powder altogether. I did recently try e.l.f.'s new Halo Glow pressed powder. Unfortunately, it looked so dry and heavy and cakey on my skin that I returned it. So I only have one drugstore setting powder, and it is Physician Formula Butter Glow translucent powder. I have been using this for years. It is lightweight, silky, never looks dry or cakey, and it is translucent on the skin. Now, this Wet n Wild tinted hydrator really set down nicely, and it's a very long-lasting formula, so I really don't feel the need to set my complexion, but I am going to dust a little setting powder on my concealer area. But before I set my concealer, I am going to make sure that there are no creases, and then I'm going to take a very light, fluffy brush, pick up a little powder, dust it off on my hand. When it comes to powder, less is more, and I'm just going to, I love this brush because it fits perfectly under my eyes, and I'm just going to very lightly press just the smallest amount of powder on my concealer area, a little bit around my nose, and that is it for powder today. moving on to bronzer. Now for most of the winter, I don't even wear bronzer, so I almost didn't include it in today's video. But as we get into the warmer summer months, a touch of bronzer can add a really pretty sun-kissed glow. The problem with bronzers, especially drugstore bronzers, is that they often pull too warm or too orange. And Oompa Loompa is not a good look. My all-time favorite powder bronzer, drugstore or high-end, is L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Wear Bronzer. This is super lightweight and silky, and I am in the lightest shade, which is very neutral and perfect for my light neutral olive skin tone. Now with bronzer, I'm not sculpting, but it does give a little bit of dimension to the face. I'm using a very, very fluffy brush, picking up just a little bit, and again, pouncing it off on my wrist. And I'm applying it to where the sun naturally hits my face, high up on my cheekbone, up my temples, a little bit on the forehead, and I do like to take it down the neck, and also a little bit across the bridge of the nose. I don't even know if that's showing up. I'm applying it very lightly, just to give a little bit of warmth, dimension, and a little bit of a sun-kissed look to the face. Now when I apply bronzer, I'm very careful not to apply it too low because that really can drag the face down. And it's better to go in lightly and build up slowly rather than going in too heavy and making it difficult to blend. And bronzer does double duty as eyeshadow. So I'm going to pick a little bit up with a fluffy shadow brush, and I am just applying it just above my crease, just to give my eyes a little bit of shape and definition. Very natural looking, no eyeshadow. Bronzer is a really good multitasker. If you've been with me for a while, you know that I am a huge fan of cream blush for dry, mature skin. My favorite drugstore cream blush is the Milani Cheek Kiss. The formula is balmy and sheer but buildable, basically foolproof. This is the shade Nude Kiss, a really pretty, soft, neutral nude pink. So this can be applied with fingers or a brush. I'm just going to dab it on with my fingertips. Again, keeping it higher up on my cheeks to give a lift. And with blush, you really don't want to use that old technique that we used to all use back in the day, smiling and putting the blush on the apple of the cheek, because when you stop smiling, the apple falls. And once again, I'm trying to keep the color above the level of my nose, but I do want to take some just a little bit to the fleshy part of my cheek, just above the apple of my cheek, and up a little bit into the temple. And I think you can see how easy that is. Let's get it on this side. All right. Now to get extra longevity out of cream blush, I sometimes like to double blush, especially in the summer, meaning I will dust a very light layer of powder blush over the cream blush, which will sort of set the cream blush. Today I'm going to use another Milani product, and it is Milani's Baked Blush in the shade Luminoso, which is a perfect peachy pink, happy summer color with just a touch of glow. Now I am using the same brush that I used for the bronzer, but I did clean it off. Again, going in very lightly. It's better to build up light layers. And really, I just want a dusting for a little bit of glow. Hi. Oh my gosh. I don't know if you can see that. Look at that beautiful glow. This is a perfect summer blush. I'm taking a little bit off because I don't want to apply too much. Oh my gosh, do you see that beautiful glow? Double blushing will really make your blush bulletproof for the summer months. Now with this beautiful glow, I really don't need a highlighter, but I do want to share my favorite drugstore highlighter, and it's Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. This is a baked powder highlighter. This is under $5, and it is one of my all-time favorite highlighters, period, drugstore or high-end. It adds just a touch of sheen, no sparkle or glitter, and never accentuates lines or wrinkles. Now, I have plenty of glow, so I really don't need a highlighter. However, this can double duty as eyeshadow, so I am going to place just a little bit for a touch of sheen on my eyelids. So between the bronzer and the highlighter, we have a super simple, fast and easy, no eyeshadow look. Having said that, I do have some eyeshadows to share. And I do think that the easiest eyeshadows for beginners are cream eyeshadows. And I have two eyeshadow formulas to share. Let me find them. So my two favorite drugstore cream eyeshadow. First up, we have the Revlon Color Stay cream eyeshadow in the shade Caramel, which is really silky and balmy. And the shade gives just the most beautiful bronzy sheen. So that is Caramel. And my other one is the newish CoverGirl Clean Easy Eyeshadow Sticks. This is in the shade Bronze Glow. And I think you're gonna see that Bronze Glow is pretty similar to Caramel. You can get a very similar look. So I am going to apply one on each side. Anyway, I do think that the eyeshadow stick is really easy. You just sweep it on the lid and you can blend the edge with your fingers or a brush. And I'm just going to use my finger. That is CoverGirl Bronze Glow. And then for the Revlon Color Stay Caramel, again, I'm just patting it on my lid. Really pretty touch of sheen bronze glow. Super user-friendly, very, very pretty, and super long-lasting. As far as eyeshadow palettes, I do find it a little bit difficult to find high-quality eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore. I haven't personally had any luck with Maybelline, L'Oreal, or CoverGirl. Even e.l.f. can be a little bit hit or miss. You know, their 10-pan palettes I find a little bit powdery and muddy, but I do enjoy their bite-sized palettes. That's their 4-pan quads, comes in a variety of color stories. Most of them come with both mattes and shimmers. This one, oh, what is this color story? Cream and Sugar, which is a really nice, neutral, user-friendly quad. So again, e.l.f. Bite, and these are well under $5. I think they're like $3.99, super, super cheap and really high quality. So my favorite brands of eyeshadow palettes at the drugstore will be Wet n Wild. What else do we have here? Wet n Wild, Essence, and ColourPop. My favorite Wet n Wild palette is this Always Naked palette. Unfortunately, the packaging is incredibly cheap, but the eyeshadows themselves are really high quality, and I really enjoy how this does have a range, cool tones, warm tones, a range of mattes and shimmers, and a range of tones from light to deep. Now, this can be a little bit difficult to find. Sometimes you can find it at Walgreens or Walmart. Usually you can find it on Amazon. And I do have an entire video where I did an eyeshadow look with this palette. It's a really high quality palette. And Wet n Wild little 5-pans are also excellent with a variety of color stories. And those run about $5. Essence also makes really high quality shadows. They have their little 6-pan for under $5. I think those are $3.99. Now, I don't currently have any. I actually meant to pick up another one. I used to have them, and then when I moved, I decluttered them, but I do very highly recommend them. But I must say, one of my favorite drugstore formulas, drugstore priced formulas, is ColourPop. You know, although it's not sold at drugstores, it is sold at Target and in the drugstore section of Ulta. And their 9-pan palettes are only $14, and they do frequently go on sale. Let me see if I can open this. All right. Anyway, I recently picked up this beautiful ColourPop Deja Brew 9-pan palette from Target. I love the neutral color story. It's mostly matte with only 3 shimmers. I am going to swatch some of these for you. We're going to do some mattes. Oh my gosh, the mattes are really smooth. I'm just going to swatch 3 of the mattes. There are 3 of the mattes. Nice range of tones. Let me get a little bit more of that one there. Nice range of tones. Oh my gosh, let me swatch these shimmers for you. They're so, so pretty and so smooth and buttery. Really beautiful on mature eyes. So those are the mattes, and there are the shimmers. Oh my gosh, look at that gorgeous sheen. Anyway, I'm really, really happy with this. The 9-pan palettes, I think I already said, are $14, and they do frequently go on sale. I do want to give a very quick shout out to Alter Ego eyeshadow palettes. Now, they're not drugstore, but they are super affordable alternatives to luxury palettes. A couple of years ago, I did a video, side-by-side looks, Alter Ego on one side, Natasha Denona on the other, and you really couldn't tell the difference. Sometimes I prefer the Alter Ego formula over the luxury formula. For instance, Alter Ego Midsummer Palette was inspired by the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nouveau palette. And I enjoyed this formula so much that I gave my Nouveau to my cousin. This palette is, oh my gosh, I love these greens. I'm not going to swatch it for you right now, but this palette is only $20. And I always have a discount code in the description box of all of my videos. Now, I am super grateful to be on Alter Ego's PR list, and they do send me palettes, and sometimes I don't even have a chance to use them. For example, they sent me this beautiful Misthaven palette. I haven't even touched it yet, you guys. Look at this. Still has the plastic. I'm not even sure what palette this is inspired by, but I love those cool tone mauves. Anyway, I have way too much makeup, so this is a giveaway. If you would like to win this Misthaven eyeshadow palette, just leave a comment in the comment box that you're interested in the palette, and I will announce the winner in next week's video. I will not let you know in a comment that you are a winner. If you get a comment that says you're a winner, it is, what do they call that? It's not real. It's a scam. So please be careful. I will announce the winner in next week's video, and if you are interested in this palette, just let me know in the comment box. As far as eyeliners, I have never gotten the hang of liquid eyeliners, so I don't even own one. I much prefer eyeliner pencils. I think they are just so much easier. So I do have a couple of drugstore liners to recommend. One of my most used is L'Oreal Infallible Gel Grip Eyeliner. This comes in all the basic shades, gray, brown, navy, black. I use brown denim every day to tight line my upper lash line. And there is brown denim. Now, I've already tight lined because I find it really difficult to do on camera, but I will link a video below, Tight Line 101, where I show exactly how I tight lined my upper lash line. Another drugstore eyeliner, I really enjoy the NYX eyeliner pencils. Now, these come in tons of colors. I have it in this really beautiful olive green, but it has tons of colors, so this is a good one. And if you've been with me for a while, you know how much I love my Sephora Shimmer Taupe. I use this every day on my lower lash line. However, this is not drugstore, but I am going to show you the swatch. There is Shimmer Taupe, and I think you can see how much lighter it is than, for instance, brown denim. I really like a very light liner on my lower lash line to give soft definition without dragging my eyes down. But today I am only using drugstore products, so I am going to line my lower lash line with my CoverGirl eyeshadow stick, and you can see how the eyeshadow stick compares to the Shimmer Taupe. It is definitely a little bit lighter, but I think it will do the trick. Just a little soft definition on the lower lash line. Very subtle, barely there. But I love the fact that this can do double duty. Moving on to eyebrows. Eyebrows make such a big difference that I rarely leave the house without doing at least a little something to my eyebrows. Eyebrows frame our face and can even give a little lift to our eye. Now, depending on how much brow hair you have, you might prefer an eyebrow pencil or a tinted gel. I often use both. My favorite eyebrow pencil is my NYX Powder Louder eyebrow pencil. It is a powder pencil and it does have a spoolie, and I have it in the shade Taupe. Now, it's really hard for me to do my brows on camera, but I'm going to give it a go. On me, I need to fill in the center of my brow a little bit and the tail. So I just gently fill in the center because I'm just losing those hairs at the beginning of the brow. And when I do the tail, rather than going down, I'm trying to go out. This way it gives a little bit of a lift to the eye versus if you drag the tail down, that can drag the eye down. And just sort of fill in any gaps where needed. I think I laid a little bit more there. And then use the spoolie to sort of blend it together. I think I need a little bit more on the tail. So I hope you can see what a difference just a little bit of brow pencil makes with my eyebrows. And I also try to bring my brows up just a little bit. Okay. They're not perfect, as they say. They're cousins, sisters or cousins, not twins. It's really hard to get your eyebrows even, especially on camera. So this is my favorite eyebrow pencil, Powder Louder by NYX. I do like to use, I really do like to use a tinted volumizing eyebrow gel to tint, fluff, and hold my brows in place. A really affordable tinted brow gel is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. Comes with the tiny, tiny little spoolie. It's only $5. Unfortunately, they don't have a shade for me. I think it only comes in 3 shades, and all the shades are a little bit too deep for my preference. So my go-to drugstore brow gel is NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel in, of course, the shade Taupe. And I just lightly run it through my brows. Like I said, tint, fluff, volumize, and hold. The drugstore has so many fantastic mascaras that it's actually a little difficult to narrow down. But I am going to share 3 favorites with you. My most affordable favorite is this Essence Lash Princess. I think it's only about $5. Now, Essence does make a variety of formulas, and I don't love them all, but I specifically love this pink tube called Volume Mascara. I have repurchased it several times. Unfortunately, this is on the old side, so I'm not using that today. I would say my most repurchased drugstore mascara over the past 15 or more years is the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. But again, this is a little on the old side, so I'm not using that today. My current favorite drugstore mascara is Maybelline Sky High Lash Princess. My gosh, I cannot stop using this. I love the flexible silicone wand that grabs each and every lash. It gives beautiful length and volume, and I am going to apply it. When you apply mascara, wiggle the wand at the base and then pull it through. Wiggle and sweep, and you can also just hold the wand there and sort of close your lashes on the wand. My gosh, this is so easy to apply. Now there is just one coat, and you can see it gave really beautiful length and volume. Let me get it on the other side. And last but not least is lipstick. You know, as we grow older, our lip color fades. We lose definition along our vermilion border. Our lips just seem to disappear. So I personally wear lipstick every single day, whether I'm wearing makeup or not. I feel like it just lights up my face, and lipstick just makes me happy. But I do know that lipstick can be intimidating for some beginners. My number one recommendation for those who are intimidated by lipstick is Revlon's recently relaunched Super Lustrous Glass Shine Balm. Now it might look a little bit scary in the bullet, but these go on beautifully sheer with a lovely sheen. You really cannot go wrong with these balms. It comes in 10 different shades, and I recently did a video where I swatched and tried on all 10 shades. I will link that video in the description box below. In my opinion, Revlon is the queen of drugstore lipsticks. I have been repurchasing Revlon Super Lustrous lipsticks my entire adult life. They're creamy and pigmented and long-lasting, and they come in a ton of different colors. My two most used colors right now are Rose Velvet, a really beautiful soft nude rose, and I think this is called Baby Berry for a little bit of a brighter pink. However, if I want a matte lipstick, my favorite drugstore matte formula is the Milani Color Fetish Matte Lipstick. Again, creamy, pigmented, surprisingly lightweight, and not at all drying. Comes in tons of different shades. In fact, I think they just launched 3 brand new shades, which I want to check out. But right now, my favorite shade is Petal. Really beautiful, brighter pink, and this is what I'm going to wear today. My gosh, it feels incredibly lightweight. Even though it feels lightweight and moisturizing, I do like a little bit more of a sheen. So I am going to apply just a touch of gloss if I can find it. One of the best glosses at the drugstore are these Maybelline Lifter glosses. Come in tons of shades. This is the shade Silk. And you can certainly wear this alone with a lip liner, or just a touch to add a little shine to a matte lipstick. So here is the finished look. So let's put our starter kit together. My starter kit includes Corrector, Skin Tint, Concealer, either a cream or a powder blush. We really don't need both. I am going to choose the cream blush, a cream eyeshadow, eyeliner pencil, eyebrow pencil, eyebrow gel, mascara, and lipstick. 10 products, around $100. Now, let's add in the extras. The extras would include bronzer. You know what? Let's throw in a powder blush, just so that we have both cream and powder. Setting powder. My gosh, I don't think it's going to fit. Highlighter. And last but not least, eyeshadow. My gosh, I wish I had room for this color pop, but in order to fit everything in, I'm going to use the e.l.f. bite-sized. So 15 products, I believe, fit in this little makeup bag, and I believe the 15 products are under $150. So on average, about $10 per product. Now, $150 at Sephora would get you probably 4 or 5 products if you shopped very carefully. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, really appreciate your time. Please share your drugstore favorites so we can all help each other. And with that, have yourself a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in my next video.